Hey, it's Angie D. Lee, the intimacy guru, and today we're going to discuss what intimacy means to a man. This is going to be a fun video and actually a rather quick video because it's not going to be that deep. Like, I really want all of the women that are watching this to understand that this is not going to be a very deep conversation, but I don't say that as any slight or shade on men. I'm just letting you know it's going to be that simple. So we're going to get right to the point so that you'll have an idea of what intimacy truly means to a man. Because a lot of times, too, when we think about intimacy, we always think about, the woman and what she wants emotionally and maybe even intellectually, and she wants to have this deep connection. But believe it or not, men, desire intimacy as well. It's just the way they desire intimacy can be a little bit different than women. Okay, so we'll start off with physicality. Okay, we just have to be honest. Men relate physically. That's how they feel loved. That's how they feel cared for. And the sooner we can get this out of our minds, like they're not supposed to desire that, the better. Okay, that is a part of them. That is fundamentally and biologically how a lot of men are wired. And it just is what it is. And so that's going to be a very important component of this video. It's not to say that your man is not or doesn't have the ability to change. But the thing is, we don't want to change him. We want to actually meet him where he is and understand what it is that he needs. So then that way we can also communicate what we need as well as women. So physicality is a very important component of intimacy for a man. This is how he feels loved. This is how he feels cared for. And then also, when it comes to physicality, it doesn't always necessarily mean that he wants to penetrate or actually have sex. Sometimes throughout the day, just a touch, on his back, if he's driving and you're in the car with him in the passenger seat, rubbing his head, rubbing his neck, grabbing his hand. And again, I'm speaking to people that are in relationships, defined as a relationship, a committed relationship or a marriage. I'm not talking about situationships and things where we don't understand who we are to each other. So that one doesn't apply. But this is if you are in a relationship with a man, these are very important components. So remember that becoming physical with your man is very important. It helps him to feel seen. And believe it or not, it actually helps him to feel like he's important. And so even though as women, that's not always the first thing that we go to when it comes to feeling connected to someone, but for them, that's very important. I'm not saying it's the only thing, but it's a very important thing. Also, we have to remember like that oxytocin, which is that bonding hormone that a lot of times when we hear oxytocin, we think of women, but men actually release oxytocin when they actually orgasm. And so that's why you kind of see them a little bit more, I guess, like tired or a little bit more lethargic, but that's because he's also released that oxytocin, which has put him in a very vulnerable state. And so that's a really good time to just, be with him, lay with him, hold him. If he wants to talk, you could talk. If not, but just that's a connecting moment for him. Again, this is for committed relationships, people that are in relationships together and not necessarily situationships, because that's a little different. He might want you to leave after that. So that's another topic, but if you're in a relationship with a man, that's a very important moment for them. And there's actually a really good connecting time where you can actually maybe ask questions and talk to him about maybe your thoughts and your desires at that point. But you know your man. So if you know that that's going to overwhelm him or things like that, maybe that's not the time to do it. But that is a very, very component of intimacy for him. So if it seems like he's constantly bugging you about, how often you all have sex, or it's not happening, or we're just not on the same page, that's him actually becoming intimate with you and telling you what his needs are. And if they're being ignored, if they're being brushed off, if it's met with like a nonchalantness or defensiveness, that could actually make him shut down emotionally, thus decreasing the intimacy. Another thing is compliments. Men love compliments. You all, like, I know we love them too. Like, we want to hear, like, look like we lost a little weight, or our hair is beautiful, or the makeup is looking just right. But men like compliments as well. And again, if you're paying attention to your partner, and you understand what excites him, that's what you should be complimenting him on. And I'm not saying lie. Like, don't just start saying, he's extra good at something and he's learning in that area. You don't want to do that, but it's okay to compliment him on how he dresses, and how he walks, or how he smells. Or I like when you do that, and I appreciate when you come home and you're playing with the kids while I'm cooking dinner, or you helped out our son with his homework. I love that you supported me, with my family when we were going back and forth, and you stood up for me. I love that about you. I love just your energy, your high energy. I love your ability to make people laugh. I just love who you are. Like, men need to hear that a lot more than you think. And so make sure that you're prioritizing, not being fake, but just prioritizing just the greatness in him. And if you're struggling with that sometimes, take some time and make a list and just think about it, because there are good things. There's no reason that you're in this marriage or relationship and you can't find not one amazing thing about your partner. So dig deep, make a list, and start prioritizing him hearing that from you. He has to hear that. That's so important. Emotional intimacy, which is kind of like, we've been talking about all these other aspects too, but men need to feel that, you care about them. And what I mean by that is, okay, so if you have, a husband, a boyfriend, and he is, let's say he works typical schedule, like 40 hours a week. When he comes home, he may not be as helpful around the house with the chores. And again, that's going to be a whole other conversation for another video. But he's working. He brings his money home, and he makes sure that things are taken care of around your home, whether he's fixing something, he's buying something. I know a lot of times as women, we have these conversations like, why do I need to award him for something he's supposed to do? Let's get out of that mentality. He doesn't have to do anything. So remember that you all are both showing up every day as a choice. So if he's showing up every day, he's going to work, he's coming home, he's providing for you and your family, or just you, or whatever it is that he's doing, that's his choice. And the fact that he's making that choice, and he's making that choice with you, means something. So that's important. And he needs to feel that you appreciate that. Now, there are going to be times where, I guess the division of labor, we are in modern society, and so things are a lot different now, but that can be discussed in another realm. I would say that he can possibly hear you a little bit better if he feels appreciated. And also if he feels that, emotionally you're connecting with him, because that's a huge thing for women. Men, we may think that they don't see things and they don't observe things and they're not in tune, but they can tell when their woman, a wife, has checked out emotionally. And if you start feeling like that's where you are, that's going to be a different conversation, and something that, you need to really go inward and see what's going on, so that you can emotionally connect with him. So, so important. Men need space, okay? I know a lot of times, we get really frustrated about things. We want to talk about things, and it can lead to a little bit more nagging, dare I say it. Men and just people need space, okay? Even women, we need space sometimes, but sometimes men really need space to just kind of process things. Depending on how long that space needs to be, that's something that you all will have to further discuss, in conversations, where it's like, okay, I noticed that when these things happen, or when we have these type of conversations or disagreements, I noticed that you kind of just are quiet and you're to yourself. Don't say that he shuts down, because that can come off very much like you're attacking him, but just let him know, like, I noticed that you tend to kind of like, kind of go off into your own space for a minute, and I totally respect that. I would just like to know, typically how much time do you think that is for you so that I can respect that? So you're not saying to him like, okay, listen, you need to know, let me know how long this gonna last because I ain't got that kind of time. See how that sounds? It's very different. And it sounds like, you don't care. And that's where that emotional intimacy comes into place. But I just flat out ask him, I noticed that about you and I want to respect it. I want to respect where you are and what you need. Let me know how much time typically you think that'll be. If it's, a few hours, if it's a day, if it's a couple of days, just let me know because I want to respect that. And it's not that I'm pulling away from you. I'm just, giving you the space that you desire. And then I'll come back, when you feel like you're ready or you can come to me. But allow him that space. Do not try to constantly get to the root of the problem or try to attack the problem or answer, the issue right then and there. Because that may not be what he needs. And this can apply to women as well. There are some men that actually want to do the talking and want to do more of the expressing where the woman tends to kind of, seclude for a little bit so that she can process. So every person is different. But a lot of times for men, they need that space and it needs to be respected, which is very important when it comes to intimacy with men as well. They need to feel respected. Okay. And then the last thing I would say is safety. I know that men are typically seen as the providers and the ones that are stronger and that can handle, this, that, and the third, but they need to know that the place that they have with you is safe. And what I mean by that is when he's down, when he's tired, when he's frustrated, this is not the time to bring up the things that you have an issue with him. That's just not the time because it comes off as if you're taking some of his most vulnerable moments and you're kicking him while he's down. It's not a good feeling. And again, it's not a good feeling for anyone, but it's definitely not a good feeling for a man. And I know it's easier said than done, but do not talk to your friends, your mom, your aunts, your cousins, your co-workers, female ones, and male. Okay, let's just call it what it is. Do not talk about what he's quote unquote doing wrong or what you don't like. I'm not saying hide, and if it's something that you really need to talk about and discuss, I would highly suggest, that you get, like a third party involved, someone that is non-judgmental. And so I'm speaking in reference to possibly like a therapist or a counselor, someone that does not have that connection to your husband, because it's hard, when a man finds out that his wife, his girlfriend is talking about his quote unquote shortcomings behind his back and to other people. It's a huge slap in the face. So remember that if you feel like you really, really just need to talk about something and no one is available, I would definitely suggest journaling about it, but even be careful of that, because if he finds it and it doesn't have context to it, or he hasn't gotten your true feelings about what you're writing, that can also come off as if like he's not good enough. And men are the type of people that want to have some sense of, I don't want to say control, but they want to be the one to be able to give you everything you need. So even though it may seem like he doesn't care, he wants to be that person for you. But if he doesn't know how, and he's constantly hearing that you're not happy and you're tearing him down, that does not motivate him to become more intimate with you. So I just want you to take into account all of those things. Watch the video again if you need to, with just some of these key points that typically do apply to a lot of men. We can't talk about or speak for every man, obviously, because everyone is different. But at the same time, a lot of men do tend to relate that way. And so if we know that, it's a very, very simple concept. Now, is it easy to put into practice? Not always, because there are other factors that come into play. And again, I'm talking about, relationships, committed relationships, marriage, you've been together, and you all are doing this thing together. I'm not talking about just a fly-by-night type of situation, because that's just not going to apply. So definitely keep those things in mind. Again, watch the video. Again, if you need to, go over some things. Take a deep breath. I know sometimes it's very frustrating when you're not getting your needs met as well. And I'm also going to do a video on how women relate as it as it pertains to intimacy. So I'm going to do that as well. But I definitely wanted to talk about, the men, because as women, we can talk about these things all day long. We can break these things down over and over again until it can't be broken anymore. But for guys, it's very simple. And I want your lives to be a lot simpler. Like, if you go into this with this mindset, that it's pretty simple in what they need, you'll be amazed that you start doing these things very consistently. You'll start to see a little bit more of a change in him, and he may actually start doing a lot of the things that you want on his own. But these are some of the things that you definitely need to take into account and try to implement into your relationship right away. Alrighty, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to talking with you all next time about women and intimacy. Alrighty.